Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. What's up out there? What's up, everybody? What's that angle? The angle's kind of off. What's going on, yo? What up, world? What up, YouTube? Welcome to fine, this fine Wednesday morning. What's up, EMP? This wicked Wednesday. Welcome to this fine Wednesday edition of BS with Hannas. That's what I call myself online. It's my little morning YouTube talk show. Whole premise of this show, I like to wake up and I like to take a nice walk and read some good stuff, come out, talk to the people, go lift some weights, go to work, so on and so forth. But I like to come out here in the morning and, talk about what I'm observing, what I'm reading, what I'm thinking, what I'm looking at, what I'm pondering about, pontificating about, what the fuck ever. Yeah, so welcome to it, dude. Here live on YouTube on a Wednesday, a wicked Wednesday. I like the alliteration game. There's only so many W alliterations, though. So what am I thinking about today? I'm thinking about how I was fucking triggered on Monday. And as I think about that, right? So I'm triggered about, the imperial state. Because as I think about it, like, I don't like to do politics hard, but it's important. I do think it's important on some level. And how it affects us matters, you know? Um, but that's the struggle. That's the trick. Because it's designed to affect us. It's designed to be matrix attacks, psychic warfare. I believe that. Psychic warfare lends itself to spiritual warfare. So as you scale it all the way up, it's fucking the world without is the world within on some level. That's fucked up. Like it's a mind fuck. And it's one that I'm apparently susceptible to and sensitive to. And as I was talking about it with nothing really having been said, just lashing almost. And I listen back to it and I'm like wrestling with the idea of, I'm like wrestling with the principles of stoicism, right? It's shit that you know rationally, shit that you know logically, empirically, that it's the world outside, control what I can control. Everything else you got to just kind of submit to. Even if you don't like it, you kind of got to just deal with it. That is stoicism in a nutshell. Deal with it. Okay. Real easy to know that. It's still a bitch to experience it, because there's something in me for whatever reason that rejects what I'm looking at in the outside world. And it's because it's a fucking clown show of a political fucking landscape. I think at least it's a total joke, and I dislike watching other people get revved up in it. And because I dislike watching other people get revved up in it, what does that do? Well, I'm that special kind of stupid. It therefore revs me up. So now I'm complicit and revved up in the same miasma of bullshit. And I got to check that shit. So as I was listening back to Monday, I think that's what it was. It was just me wrestling with that phenomenon. Which, as an individual, now if I had an audience, let's just say I had a massive audience out here on YouTube, it would be a bigger discussion, kind of, sort of. So it would still be a net win, I like to think. But since I don't, and this is in many ways still a low scale project of me talking to me, it's an interesting thing. It's a very interesting thing. And the fact that it's mostly an improv show and I'm just going off this flying by the seat of my pants. It's like, damn, is that what you really think, Benny? So that's what you think? You're saying a whole lot of nothing. Well, when I listen back to myself objectively, it's like, man, shut the fuck up. Quit bitching. Quit bitching. What do you care about? And as it all pans out, what it looks like to me, what it looks like to me is that it's just the next step of American imperialism. It looks as if the Orange Man is looking to just build the empire with, you know, who knows what the fuck that actually entails. Will there be good that comes out of it? Of course there will be. Will there be bad that comes out of it? Of course there will be. That's just what it looks like. That's what it looks like is happening. Now, as I'm thinking about it, and I wonder my own emphasis point, fuck what's going on out there, worry about what's going on in here. The question from me to me is like, why does out there matter to what's going on in here? That's just a question. I don't really have the answer. I guess that at the end of the day, you have to negotiate, you have to navigate the world. I can't just totally ignore things because I was triggered about that. And then lo and behold, I have myself another couple days where I'm just triggered generally. I'm doing this stuff behind the scenes trying to get this fucking LLC going. And it's fucking just roadblock, hiccup, and it's frustrating. And when I'm in that triggered state, it's just like, you know what? My instinct is to say, fuck this. Just put it down. Just ignore it. Say, man, I must be an idiot thinking I'm something that I'm not. You know what I mean? Like that negative fucking self talk and like, fuck this attitude. It comes back strong, which makes me realize that grow as I have and grow as I am, growing as I am, rather, or learning, developing, whatever. There's still that part of me in there that's always been there. And that's what has to be waged war upon. It's very self introspective, I guess, triggered by something as dumb as a news headline. So maybe I would put that in the net win, the net good column. I don't know, but then it's like I'm at work and I'm impatient and I'm fucking irritable and I'm cranky. So then I'm just like not lashing out, but I can tell when I get pissed off and cranky like that, just a bitch. I fucking wear it. And then when I'm in that position of influence and I'm wearing this fucking negative attitude, it's like, damn, I know it. Fuck, I know that I'm doing it. But how the fuck do I shake myself and get out of it? I know how to. Rationally, I know how to do it. When you're in the midst of it, though, it's like, man, this is a powerful, compelling thing, dude. And for what? For the news headlines, and this is where the morning readings help, right? So I was reading this today. This is from As Bill Sees It, because I get to restart all my morning books since it's a new year. He's got this page. It's called All or Nothing, and this is more, it's the AA guy, so it pertains mostly to sobriety specifically. But in this section, Bill says acceptance and faith are capable of producing 100% sobriety. I tend to agree with that, and I'm still sober, so that's a massive W despite all the other fuckery going on. He continues, in fact, they usually do, and they must, else we could have no life at all. And this is where it gets good, where it became relevant to me. But the moment we carry these attitudes into our emotional problems, we find that only relative results are possible. Nobody can, for example, become completely free from fear, anger, and pride. Fear, anger, and pride. They're the big ones. They're the big ones. Those things are in us and they manifest themselves in ways that we aren't always aware of. And therefore, they project themselves in ways we're not always aware of. In my experience, I found that to be the case. So he says, hence, in this life we shall attain nothing like perfect humility and love. So we shall have to settle, respecting most of our problems, for a very gradual process, punctuated sometimes by heavy setbacks. Our old attitude of all or nothing will have to be abandoned. And that applies completely 100% in my view to this practicing of exhibiting stoicism and living the ideal out. That's a great aim, but then punctual setbacks, they can kind of fuck us a little bit. So I guess it's good to just be aware. Awareness is the beginning of all things, the beginning of all wisdom, some could say. And once you're there, shit, it's just like pull yourself out of that, dude. So that's what I've been trying to do. So when I woke up Saturday and I'm pissed off, it's like, all right, back on to 75 hard, which just means lots more things to do. Most of which I do anyway, but it's like, even if I'm that kind of idiot who needs like some external program, I would like to be completely self motivated internally and have it all just, not need. Because some people say, what do you need to follow some guy on the internet's program for? Why do you need to fucking do this? Can't you just do it yourself? It's like, yeah, I mean, I could, but as behavioral patterns have showed, once I'm off it, I start slipping a little bit. When you start slipping a little bit, proclivities change. And I found that brain fog was happening a lot, as much as I'm head down, hoodie up, just grinding away and getting stuff done. And in my view, it's like, I am being productive. So why do I need this? Well, because now that I'm triggered by a couple things, some internally, some externally, well, the end result of that is I'm being a triggered bitch right now. So tighten those motherfucking screws, dude. Tighten them up and fucking get back to it, And that's, I guess, the appropriate response, but not without setbacks and little things like that just highlight it. So that's what the fuck I'm thinking about today. So my apologies to any of my homies out here if I was sounding like a bitch, spiraling chaotically on a Monday about what the Orange Man is doing, because I don't like people that spiral about what the Orange Man is doing. Didn't like myself in that moment. Didn't like listening back to it. But it's all good, man. On we go. And why is that relevant to me? Well, it's funny because as I'm taking my morning walk today, one of my neighbors out here, Nice dude, good guy. I like running into him and talking with him. But for the past couple years, he's had this sign on his lawn. Today is January 7th, which means yesterday was January 6th, which is the anniversary of the Capitol, the attack on our Capitol, the insurrection against our great democracy. Was 5 years ago yesterday, I guess. Okay. No, I think that's a joke. I think it's propaganda, bullshit, mind control, so on and so forth. And I always wonder, like, I like this guy, my neighbor, nice dude. But I'm like, what compels him to just have that out there? I don't know that much about him. Maybe he's a local activist. Maybe he's involved in committees and so on and so forth. I'm not too sure. Him and his wife moved in a couple years ago. They got a nice, cute little kid. It's all good. But I'm like, why are you just advertising that? It's interesting. And that makes me think like, well, why do I have the biggest American flag in front of my house in the whole neighborhood? What am I advertising there? I could tell you what I'm advertising. I think it's decent. It's a mark of upstanding citizenry to have a sense of patriotism and to display it. That's what I think. One word answer, even though the long answer comes with nuance, of course, no shit. But I wonder if other people see that and they think, why is that flag so big? Do they have to have that big flag out there? Which is interesting to me. Brings me to a quote that I found. This is from Joseph Campbell, because I'm thinking about ultimately, it's culture. At the end of the day, it's culture. Everything is downstream from the culture, and we're part of the culture. We are the nation, you know? So outside of that, it's like, what is our fucking culture? Back to Joseph Campbell. He says, if you live with the myths in your mind, you will find yourself always in mythological situations. They cover everything that can happen to you, and that enables you to interpret the myth in relation to life, as well as life in relation to the myth. Life in relation to the myth. So if we're all mythological people, what role do we play? Are we a hero? Are we the villain? Are we the bystanders? Are we just witnesses to the massive calamities and epic victories? Or are we participants in it? Yeah, it's fucking interesting to me, dude. Very interesting to me because I'm reading interesting stuff, as I'm going about my personal self improvement journey. I'm reading a lot of that stuff and learning to have a sense of power within myself and a sense of stronger, more compelling, more honest identity, and bring that into the world with myself. Show up is how they say. Who are you when you show up in a room? It's a very important thing. That's a mythological question. It certainly is. Are we the heroes in our own stories or are we the victims in our own stories? How much do we oscillate between the two? Shit, this past week I've oscillated between the two in a real way. And I'm on one hand, I'm reading like that stuff, the self-help stuff and personal development, personal growth stuff. And then on the other hand, I'm reading like I've been in a phase of reading a bunch of old American history, revolutionary history. Right now I'm reading a book called The Cause. I think it's I think John Ellis, Joseph Ellis, something like that, The Cause. And the part that I'm in is about Washington at Valley Forge and how they're stranded more or less after a bunch of losses, the Continental Army, after getting whooped by the British a bunch of times. They're stranded and cold and starving, and they're all fucking just wasting away at Valley Forge in the dead of the winter. Valley Forge ain't too far from me. Pennsylvania winters can be no joke. These motherfuckers got no clothes. They got no supply lines. They barely got weapons, no shelter, no nothing. What do they have? They have the cause, this mythological thing that is the cause, this original sense of American patriotism. Fuck the king, you know? We loved it in Game of Thrones when the Hound said that, and then he stormed away out of King's Landing. So I'm reading this and I'm like, well, that's the root of America. They're rallied around this one man, George Washington, this mythological figure. They're rallied around this dude, suffering for it, dealing with the morale. And here I am. I'm pissed about what? I'm pissed about what? Donald Trump. Oh, shit. What a fucking joke. Check yourself, homeboy. Motherfucking check yourself. That's kind of where I'm at with it, dude. What's the relation between whatever mythology we all live in and these great examples of history? Particularly in my current place right now, American history. What am I contributing? What am I adding to the culture? I don't know. Right now, according to my dude in the chat, Jerome Wright, I'm permanently pontificating. Man, what's with the alliterations today? A wicked Wednesday, permanently pontificating. Fucking A right. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm thinking about on this Wednesday, on this fine Wednesday morning live here on YouTube. So I guess it's time to contribute elsewhere. It's time to go get to the gym and fucking bang out hundreds of reps. Shoulders on Wednesdays. Let the record show, I do work out every part of my body. I do this show Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Mondays is chest, Wednesdays is shoulders, Fridays chest and arms. But like, don't get it messed up. I do fucking back. I do legs. I just don't do them on the days I'm doing the show for whatever reason. So I don't know if that was more cohesive. I don't know if that's a an apology. Is this the apology? I am sorry, everybody. I'm sorry for spiraling like a pussy about the seizure of Venezuela. You know, maybe that'll be our 52nd state. Who the fuck knows? And really, I shouldn't even have an opinion about it. Like, I fucking live in my own sphere of proximal influence. That's kind of what I should worry about. Focus on my mythology within that. But anyway, now the spiral. As we get closer to 10 o'clock, and the spiral can actually, because I don't spiral about crazies. I try not to spiral about crazy things before 10 a.m. It's too early for that. The morning should be about the self. So that's all I got. I'm fucking going to get on out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out on this fine Wednesday morning. It's been a lovely episode of BS with B. Hannas with me, Nikki B. Hannas. You can find it live on YouTube at BS with B. Hannas. I'm going to send it out to Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, Amazon Podcast, so on and so forth. You want some music? Primarily, that's what I like to do. Got a whole bunch of music plans for this year, too. Saw my dude last night to get them all planned out. So got to stay busy. Participate in the motherfucking mythology. NikkiBHannas.com for some heavy blues metal. NikkiBHannas.bandcamp.com. Nikki B. Hannas on all streaming services. Got another YouTube channel, Nikki B. Hannas, some guitar playing videos on there, official music videos, some live footage. Go check that shit out. You want to support it? Fucking download it on Bandcamp. Throw me some money if you'd like. Otherwise, get it for free. I just ask that you play it loud. And yeah, patreon.com/Nikki B. Hannas for a condensed feed of all the bullshit that I be up to, which I'm really enjoying. So thank you guys. Keep it real. Happy Wednesday. Crush that motherfucking shit. Keep ripping. One love. Later.